Nothing has ever been achieved without the belief that it can be. Hey guys, it's John sitting here in my living room drinking a magnificent mug of coffee. I hope this video finds you well today. I know that we are currently in chaotic times, that the political environment is turbulent, and that people are afraid. Fear has never, ever once brought us a solution. Fear has never once created an outcome other than something fearful. When you look at these times of turbulence and fear and anxiety that we seem to be struggling with right now, everything comes down to faith. Now, when I say faith, people think church, they think religious faith. The interesting thing about that is faith got that interpretation through the religion itself. The religion has decided that faith means faith in Jesus or faith in something else. When you look at the idea of faith from the terminology of it just meaning belief, faith and belief mean the same thing. Now, often people will argue that to justify their faith or their belief or the things that they want to do. I found and have found for over 25 years now that when I harness the power of my belief, I can create amazing things into my life. And I have. I've created abundance and joy and world travel and this house that I'm sitting in. I created those things through my belief that I was getting them. I literally put my thoughts, words, and deeds behind a belief, and that belief created the outcomes that I'm living. When you look at it from the perspective of the power of belief is the power of change, the power of belief is the power of creation. And when we put our belief in something negative, like we have to stop that person or we have to make sure they don't get into power, or we have to make sure that they can't harm us, or, oh my gosh, they're going to harm us. Oh my gosh, they are harming us. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. You're actually empowering the opposite of what you believe you want, because you are putting your belief behind what they're doing. You're putting your belief behind the negative, as opposed to saying, no, I believe I'm creating a better world. I believe I'm creating a more joyful world. I believe I'm creating a more equal world. I believe I'm making a more inclusive world. And you start putting your thoughts, words, and deeds behind that belief. And next thing you know, you're creating from a belief in a positive outcome, as opposed to creating unconsciously from a belief in a negative one. So it's a matter of getting very focused and very, very focused on what you want to achieve and where you want to live in the life and the world that you want to be in. And when you put your focus on that, that's where you find an amazing pathway of clarity to a better future, no matter what the circumstances are. How you react to it is a choice. Now, people who are very fearful will say they have no choice. It's just spontaneous. You have a choice to take control of your conscious mind. You have a choice to take control of the experience of your life. You have a choice to release fear. This is not something that I'm just pulling out of the latest New Age book. This is ancient text. The oldest religion in the world is Hinduism. That's the oldest documented religion in the world, is Hinduism. The Bhagavad Gita says, thought by thought you forge your destiny. Therefore, to keep your mind on the positive rather than the negative is considered the austerity of the mind. The oldest religion in the world says, keep your mind focused on a positive outcome. Because thought by thought, you're forging that outcome. You're forging that destiny. And when you look at it from the perspective of when you get deeper and deeper into the other religions that get further and further away from that pure principle, you still have Buddha saying what you think you become, you create your world. And you still have The Bible is saying, "As a man thinketh, so is he," and you still have Shakespeare saying, "There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so," and you still have Descartes, the philosopher, saying, "I think, therefore I am." And so you come to understand that our very existence is based upon what we think, what we believe. And when you start looking at it from that perspective, you have the idea and the action and the outcome all in one thing, belief. It's all right there. What you believe, you perceive. And you'll know negative people in your life. I know many of you probably know negative people in your life. If you don't know a negative person, you might be the negative person, right? um, but when you look at it and you say, okay, that negative person always sees something negative. Why? Because they see what they believe. They see a negative world. I traveled through Egypt. I was treated beautifully because I saw a beautiful country and a beautiful people. I met another man who was going through Egypt, and he was terrified of Muslims. And so everywhere he went, everyone wanted to fight him. Well, he was a jerk. Of course they wanted to fight him. Of course they did. He believed that there was conflict against him, and so he experienced conflict against him, because that was his belief. Understanding that our belief has the power of everything, and our beliefs combined create bigger outcomes. So if you want to make a big major change in this world, in this country, find people of like mind and start putting your thoughts, words, and deeds together. I mean, that's how the election was lost this last time. He found people of like mind, he put their ideas together, and he put them out there, right? Now, the more fearful they become, the less it's going to taste good for them. And they're going to turn away from that bitter fruit, and they're going to start looking for a more joyful outcome, because that's our very nature. The very nature of the human species is to look for something positive. When we don't find it, we start falling into the subconscious fears and anxieties. But what is fear? Fear in this moment is just an emotional reaction to a negatively focused uncertainty. So it's a matter of understanding I can positively focus on my uncertainty, or I can negatively focus on my uncertainty, and my direct experience in life will be a direct relationship to that belief. When you choose a positive faith, when you choose a positive outcome, you're creating an anchor. You're creating a foundation of your life. That anchor, that foundation has got you rooted to this place. And once you're anchored and you're foundationed in the belief that you're going to create a positive outcome, nothing can move you without your choice. Nothing can change you without your choice. Nothing can make you fearful without your choice of saying, I am struggling with that. I am fighting against that. These are all fear-based reactions. In this moment, let go of the reaction to stimulus and come back to, no, I am creating a more joyful world. I am creating a more inclusive world. I am creating an environment where people can get along and listen and understand one another. Oftentimes, the people you listen to are going to boggle your mind. They're going to see and say things very differently than you would say things or see things. And when you look at it as the idea of why are they saying those things, the first thing you have to do is release your judgment of what they're saying, because judgment's not your job. Your job is to look at it from the perspective of, okay, I'm creating a positive world. They're obviously not thinking that way. Why don't I listen to what they're afraid of? Why don't I find out what they're afraid of? Why don't I find a way to alleviate their fears? Why don't I find a way to show them the loving world that I'm creating? Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. You have to be the loving world that you want to live into. If you're not, you're living into the fearful world that's being created. So the only way we make a change in this world is to be the change. And the way we be the change is to believe in the positive outcome we're creating. And the more we put faith in that positive outcome, no matter what comes up against it, we negate it, we deflate it, we de-energize it, and we move on. because the way you deflate it, the way you de-energize it is to get rid of the fear or expose the fear and then move on looking at what we're creating in life. Understand that you have to release the control that fear has on you. You have to release the control that fear is your master. Because giving your present moment away to fear is just creating a fearful world. And so you must release that fear to get anything done. No positive, joyful outcome has ever happened without someone putting belief in it. No negative outcome, the same thing. All outcomes come from belief. And you're only responsible for your belief. There's going to be some people who are just going to be bitter and negative. I put out videos talking about how to alleviate your fears and move forward into a positive world. There's always going to tell me someone who's going to call me an idiot. There's always someone who says that my videos are dog crap. There's always those people. I recognize their fear, but I also recognize that that person can't hear me at this moment. And I'm going to keep speaking compassion until those are becoming my reality. And in reality, for me, I get more love and compassion in my life than most people get because I'm public. I'm out in the world. People tell me how much they like what I'm doing, and I get letters of appreciation. And I take a great joy in every one I read because it validates what I'm saying. It validates that there are people of like mind in the world like me who believe we can create a loving world and believe that this time that we're in might actually just be the growing pains of a loving world. Seeing how bad it could be might be the thing that takes us into the most loving world possible because people will say, oh, crap, and move away from it. What are your values? Do you believe in kindness? Do you believe in love? Do you believe in helping others? What are your values? Hold true to your values. Those values are the things that create the world. Each one of us creates our experience in our present moment through what we believe. And our values are where our beliefs are rooted. So take your values and say, no, I am living in the world. I am living into this experience and I'm expressing who I am from my heart. And I'm going to put that out there for all to see because then you become the bright light that they all look at and say, why are they so happy? And they get all grumble, right? But the more you stay in it, the more you stay in your values, the more you stay in peace, the more you stay in love, the more you stay in joy, the more you stay in compassion, they start to not be able to argue against you because you're just doing it. You're being the change. And as you do that and holding true to those kind values, eventually your kindness will seep into them because you're still being kind to them. And they're going to come to you and they're going to say, well, this. And then you say, well, no, this is the world I'm creating. I'm living into this world. And the more you put it into that place of, I am emanating out my beliefs and my values, the more your beliefs and values can affect others. But as long as you are fearful, you're actually helping them. If you're looking for just a break from the chatter of the fear that's around you, find yourself someplace that you can go sit down next to a creek or in my love room, or, for me, that's where I'd go. I'd go to sit down, just decompress. I get up in the morning, I go on my back deck. I love my back deck, right? That's a place of decompression for me. The day after the election, I put out a simple video saying it's going to be okay. You should have heard the things I was called. You should have heard, that I was a Nazi sympathizer. And there were so many things. All I said was, let go of your fear. I didn't say anything in that video about which side was which or which side. All I spoke to was the fear in that video. There's going to be people who are going to just be so afraid. And then here's the other thing I hear all the time. I'm not afraid. I'm angry. Anger is a product of fear. You're angry because it didn't go the way you want, and you're angry because you think the world's going to be turned into a unfair, unloving place. You're afraid of the world not being loving. That's what anger is. Anger is simply a product of fear. It's easy to identify. If you're feeling into one of those negative moods, ask yourself what the fear is. You'll always find it. Most of the time, you're going to find out it's the fear of it not being loving, or it not being love, or not having love. Something to do with the absence of love. You'll find it. It's there. You'll find it in every one of them. You'll find it in every one of them. Every one of your negative emotions. But those people who are coming at you with that anger and that vitriol and that fear-based reaction can become a very powerful chatter in your mind. Find yourself a space, even if it's the space in an exhale. Find yourself a space where you can bring yourself out of that core. Whenever I feel negative coming at me, I say, oh, it's just fear, right? And when someone's saying horrible things about me, which that one video that I put out, probably 40% of that video was comment section was just vitriol coming at me all day long. And I'm a person who believes in responding to comments. But after almost 2,000 comments with 40% of them being negative at me, and I'm not saying negative because they were on the opposite side. They were people who believed as I believed politically, but they were thinking they don't like the way that I am handling it. That was all that was. And I recognize their fear, but I believe in commenting and actually reading every comment that comes across my channel. And after 2,000 comments, with 40% of them being, directly anger against me, I found that for days I was spending my entire day just commenting and responding to comments on that one video. So what did I do? I turned the comments off on that video. They can't give me that fear-based stuff anymore. I don't have to read that fear-based stuff anymore. You have control only of your environment. My turning comments off was making my life better because I wasn't dealing with those comments all day long. That video has over 60,000 views on it. We had over 2,000 comments that had come in. And it was just getting to the point of I wouldn't be making this video because I would have been responding to that comment. But that's the chatter. The point of that story is that I'm in control of my experience. And so I shut off comments on that video. Prayer is a declaration of faith. Oftentimes people will pray outside of themselves to a deity to say, please deliver me from this. That is the belief in this, not in the belief in the outcome of the prayer. Your faith, your belief, the Bible literally says, when you pray, believe you shall receive, and you shall. Most people do not pray that way. They pray in the same way that people use affirmations these days. It's something outside of themselves they're trying to get to. The word affirmation literally means I'm shoring something up I have no confidence in. Have confidence, because confidence is belief. Confidence comes from belief. Believe you're receiving. Believe you're creating. Believe you're exploring. Believe you're enjoying. Believe you're experiencing. Believe. Believe it's coming into your life. I don't care how you pray, what method you use. But even if you're praying to an external God, that external God in Christianity says, believe it's happening because you ask. Ask and you shall receive. It doesn't say ask and you shall receive if I want it for you, or ask and you shall receive if you've been a good boy or girl. It doesn't say any of those. It says ask and you shall receive. You can ask for fearful things by putting faith, belief in fearful things. You can ask for fearful things by living in reaction to other people's fears. Faith says, nope, not taking that. I'm doing this. Whatever you ask in God's name is granted if you have faith. God's name, according to Moses, is I am. Not they tell me I am, or I was. No, whatever I declare I am, no matter how I get to that, the belief in I am is creating that experience. You come back to that space and you live into the beliefs you choose. When you see a challenge coming at you in your life, understand that that's just an experience to overcome. You know, Bruce Lee talked about being like water. Water going down a hill comes to a rock. That rock seems like it can be an immovable force. It can seem like it can be something that stops you, but water is going to flow around that rock. It's going to go over that rock, and through over time, it's going to bore a hole straight through that rock. That water will always make it to the sea. Even when humans try to dam it up and create these dams, they have to constantly release the pressure of that dam because the water is going to get to the sea some way. And over time, if they don't take care of that dam, that that literal dam will collapse because the water will overpower it. What are they taking care of when they're damming it up? Their fears. They're damming up the flow of love with fears. But love is always going to make it to the sea. Love is always going to win. The outcome of love is always going to win. It's natural. It's the nature of life. So when that rock shows up in your river, your job is not to say, let's hold on to that rock and stay here. Your job is to say, okay, there's a rock. I'm going to flow. I'm going to flow around it. I'm going to go over it. I'm going to through it. I'm going to go through it. You are going to keep your mind focused on getting to that sea, getting back to that oneness of us all, and bypassing any of this obstacle of fear that's in the middle of your river. You're going to flow around it only if you choose not to be the dam. Don't damn yourself. Let go of the rock. Let go of the fear. Sail off to the sea and commune with a beautiful sea. And that's how we do this, is we don't allow fear in. Fear comes in and it's pervasive. Now you're going to hear fearful things. You're going to see fearful things. In that moment, it's a moment of not reacting fearfully and making it worse. It's a matter of saying, nope, not doing that, doing this, and just stay on your loving path. The more of us that do that, fear loses its power. Fear loses its power. I've told stories many times about people mad at me, screaming at me, and all I did was exhale. I turned off the fear response. They never touched me. They never, in any way, shape, or form, harmed me with their words, because they're just words. Those words are many of those words are meant to elicit fears in you. You mother effer. That's meant to elicit fear. That's meant to elicit conflict. Don't be the conflict. Be the solution. Recognize their fear. Acknowledge their fear. Listen while second they start saying things like that, exhale. And just listen to what they're saying. A lot of times you're going to find out what they're saying is nonsense because they've chosen to believe the fear-based beliefs of others. Well, if it's nonsense, you stay in your sense. That's nonsense. It has no power over me because it's nothing. The key is understanding it has power over them. Remember that fear itself is just an emotional reaction. It's from the fight or flight response. And the thing that it does is it stores air in your body. When you feel yourself getting anxious, when you feel yourself getting mad, when you feel one of those negative emotions coming up within you, when you see someone coming at you with those experiences, recognize it as fear and simply exhale. Let the air out so you're telling your body that it's safe. The fight or flight response, the sucking in of air, the anger, the frustration, all that stuff, it's just a fear response. And when you can shut off the fear response, you are literally creating an outcome that's more beautiful, that's more caring, that's more loving. And the people around you will start to see that. Remember, you can't save the world, but you can make your part of the world so bright that the world chooses to save itself around you. So it always comes back to we save the world one person at a time, and that one person is you. You be fearless. You don't accept fearful things into your life. You see fearful things happening, you step in. I watched at a bank one time, the teller being really rude to this elderly black woman, and he was basically accusing her of being a thief. And she was just trying to cash a check, and it was just like the most ridiculous. And so what did I do? The most loving thing I could do. I stepped over there, said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Young man, I'm standing over here and I'm listening to all the hate and anger, and I'm really not happy with the way you're treating this woman. And I bank here. You're making me think this bank is a hateful place that's going to look at people of color differently. And if that's the way you're going to do that, I can't bank with this bank anymore." His manager came running out of the back. "What's going on?" I said, "Well, this man is treating this woman in a way that I find despicable. And so, if your tellers and your bank are going to treat the people without equality and fairness and kindness, I can't bank with you anymore." Manager took over her thing, cashed her check. Next thing you know, he said, "You wait for me in the back office." Went to the back office. He said, "Sir, I'm so sorry that this happened. This is not a representation of our bank." I wasn't upset. I just didn't accept him treating this person unlovingly. I didn't accept. I stepped into it. That's not inaction. That's acting out of love, right? I understood he was fearful of something. I don't know what it was. Probably fearful of her race, because he was definitely speaking in a very racial tone. But I don't have to stand by. What did I do? I stepped in and I said, "I won't bank at your bank," right? I'll never buy a Tesla. Not one Tesla will sit in my driveway. I'll never buy one. Why? Because I don't believe in his values. So I don't buy a Tesla, right? That's something I can do. To me, it would be completely unloving of me to buy one, because I'm supporting someone who's more about money than values. My mother, late in her life, was upset at a couple of people in our family, and I asked her why. She said, "Because they got some money and they gave up their values." And I said, "Mom, they're who they are. You can be mad, but that's only affecting your experience. You can be afraid, but that's only affecting your experience. Accept them for who they are. Love them without a condition, even though you don't like what they're doing. But don't ruin your moment by fearful hate or anger." So you can be disappointed, sure. But in that disappointment, realize that they're just creating from their own perspective as well. And they're not going to change unless they see a reason to. And that's really the key to this, is to understand that you have only the power over what you do, how you react in those moments, how you treat other people, how you defend other people. You don't I didn't walk over to that teller and punch the kid in the mouth. I walked over to the kid and said, I don't like the way you're treating her. It's just a loving thing to do. So it really comes down to understanding that your thoughts, words, and deeds are your experience. And when you see someone else's thoughts, words, and deeds affecting others and putting others fearful or in harm's way, then you step up and you defend, and you defend in a loving way. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you. Bye.